All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Josh from thebitblock.com here, and I am joined once again with RogersBase.
Woo! It's nice to be back again. Thank you for having me.
For another discussion where he's finally going to admit that everything I say about Smash Brothers is correct.
No, absolutely not.
So today we're actually going to be talking about Super Smash Brothers and, more importantly, everything that was discussed and shown off at E3. And so, let's just get right into it. Let's not waste any time.
Sure. What would you like to know? Because I think total, over the course of the show, I played about 4 hours of that game.
All right,
I'm not kidding either, because the first day that I spent at E3 this year, I spent only playing Smash Brothers. And the lines weren't really very long when you were in E3 because you did 4 players and you did 2-minute matches, and there were 2-minute matches per demo unit. Mm-hmm. So it would just cycle out really quickly and you can get into a lot of different matches. And so literally that whole first day of the show, I got there a little later because we were doing reporting on the digital event and Japan Time stuff. But once I actually got there, literally the whole first day I just played Smash. And then throughout the course of the show on the next 2 days, when I wasn't busy doing other stuff, I played more Smash Brothers. And I got to say, it's incredible.
Who is the first character you ever played as?
Villager.
All right. Okay. That was the right answer, by the way.
Oh, no way. I didn't know there was an objectively correct answer. But Villager's definitely.
It was a baited question.
Well, I tried Villager, and if it makes you happy, you will be very glad to know that he's actually a very fun character to play as, and he's very good as well. I think of the characters they had in the demo, he's definitely top 10. Mm-hmm. I think he won't necessarily be super high tier, I think, just based on what I've played of him. I'm speaking from a competitive standpoint, but also from a casual standpoint. His tree is phenomenal. So if you're actually able, it's disgustingly powerful.
But it looks like it's so hard to pull off.
It is very hard to pull off, but on numerous occasions on the show floor, and mind you, we were playing 4-player matches for the majority of it, mm-hmm. But in all those 4-player matches, every time I played as Villager, I was always able to get off at least 2 of those trees.
Is it kind of like Little Mac's Knockout Punch?
No, it's not as powerful as Little Mac's Knockout Punch. It's close, but the setup is really what's important. So you need to basically know who's around you. You need to be aware of who's actually attacking you at what time, so then you could actually have a safe opportunity to plant the seedling and then water it. And the other thing too is it won't just chop down after 1 chop. You have to actually have 2 chops to the tree before it knocks down. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like an Animal Crossing. And it's extremely powerful. It's extremely powerful.
Can other players knock it down?
Yeah, so that's the other thing, though, is other players can attack the seedling and actually attack the full tree. So if other people know that you're setting up a tree and they don't want you to get off the kill, they can actually just go for the tree, and it makes it kind of useless. But like I said, I played a lot of matches with me, Shofu, Duncan, and throughout the course of the show, we've been able to get off a lot of those different trees. So that was kind of cool. On top of that, he has one of the best combos in the game, one of the absolute best combos, which is he goes from a down smash to a forward smash, which is something you normally don't think of or don't think about when you're doing combos in Smash Brothers. But what his down smash does is it plants you in the ground. He uses a shovel and then he sort of digs a hole for you. Mm-hmm. And then his side smash is the bowling ball. So it's very easy to get off a very powerful combo very quickly because you can go into jabs. Sort of when they're being hit stunned, you can go into a down smash. They get stuck into the ground. You very quickly hit the C-stick, drop the bowling ball on their head, and you're good to go. And you just got off about 50%.
All right, so that's I usually pick the character that could annoy my friends the most, and it sounds like that's a really good one.
Yeah, but he's good. He's legitimately good, even on 1v1s, because we played a couple 1v1s at the VIP booth, and he's still good. His recovery is phenomenal.
Can you pop the balloons in his recovery?
Yeah, you can pop the balloons, but don't think of his balloons as his real recovery. You can use the balloons basically to get vertical, mm-hmm. but his main way of getting back onto the stage, at least the way that I saw it, was his gyroid rocket. Mm. So that where he just jumps on the rocket in midair and takes off. I mean, that is a really good recovery. That will get you very, very far if you're off the stage. And a lot of the time when you get knocked off the stage, you sort of get knocked up and over. You don't necessarily get smashed down unless someone does a meteor smash. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the time, your best recovery option is going to be the gyroid rocket.
And if you run into somebody with that, it does damage to them, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
So
on top of that, you can let go of it at any time. So say someone's below you and you're in a multiplayer match, you can shoot off the rocket, get back onto the stage, let go of the rocket. The rocket will still keep going. It'll sort of like fall down. Like it won't just keep going straight forward. It'll sort of like fall down after you jump off of it. And then that will crash and that will do damage to people. And then as soon as you jump off, you can go into like a neutral air or a down smash or whatever and attack them as soon as you get off of it. So, yeah, Villager is a threat. I mean, my main in Project M and in Brawl and actually in Melee has been Donkey Kong and Game & Watch. And for someone who plays Game & Watch a lot, he was right up my alley. Yeah, Villager, definitely.
Huh. The new characters that were announced at E3 were actually not playable in the demo, correct?
No, unfortunately, no. So I didn't get to play
Pac-Man,
Pac-Man. Nope, none of them.
All right, well, you know what? Let's talk about your thoughts on the Mii Fighters.
Okay, it's the best thing ever. So
Why?
I mean, I said this, I think, in our previous video. I thought the Miis were just a great option for them because a lot of people who whine and say like, "Oh, I want Reggie in the game. I want Iwata in the game." Now they can actually put them in the game without being, too intrusive. I feel like if we had a full 3D model of Reggie or Iwata, it would just look disgusting. I don't need Night Trap in my Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
so.
it would be, and also it might not make sense in 20 years if one of them is not with Nintendo anymore. And
Yeah, and on top of that, a lot of the reps that were on the show floor are just friends of mine who do stuff with Nintendo, JC and Danny and Jeff and Gil and all the rest of them. They all seemed extremely excited about the Mii Fighters. Like they were talking about them in a very positive light, and like I haven't gotten a chance to play with them, but the people who have all said that they were awesome. So I'm going to take their word for it.
I don't have a problem with them being in the game, and I do think Mii's have been important to Nintendo, and it's cool that they're in there. I'm really happy though that you can't use them online.
Me too. So, but however, has that been confirmed that you can't use you can't use their custom movesets online? I don't think they said that you can't use Mii's online.
I believe Sakurai said you can only use Mii's online in friends matches.
Oh, okay. If that's the case, that's kind of irksome. Because what we were talking about basically on the show floor, and actually with Shofu and Duncan, we talked about this on Japan Time too, is Palutena has a lot of different moves too, and they mentioned her wide, move pool, and how every character now, as you know, they have custom movesets,
right.
So you can adjust between your movesets. But I'm assuming there is going to be a default moveset if you just choose Mii Fighter and you don't choose to customize, you just click I want to do this, it'll go to a default set for them. And I'm sure there's got to be like default Miis that you can use online. Like I can understand not being able to use your custom Miis online or not being able to use your like your Miis of certain characters, because of course you could use like super inappropriate things and put them online and have like penis face or something. But I'm pretty sure there's got to be like a default Mii that you can use online. But if he said it, I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch the direct as closely as I played the game on the show floor, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah, I think the word is that you can only use Mii's online with your friends. And I'm assuming that might be because he doesn't want inappropriate Mii's to be showing up.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. That's acceptable. I mean, like, I don't mind playing as the Mii's. I think they'll be fun to play as. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm never going to. Oh my God! By the way, I'm sorry for the last video discussion we did. Apparently, I said at the end of the day like 1,000 times, and people were mentioning it in the comments. I will try to avoid to say at the end of the day in this video discussion. So I'm sorry, all you BitBlock listeners. I apologize.
Was that something they called you out on?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot of people in the comments were like, "Hey, good discussion, but why does he keep saying at the end of the day?" Something I do in my videos. I'm sorry. I got to get over it.
That's Alamar's final smash. End of the day.
At the end of the day, exactly. It is actually. That is actually something else we could talk about. It's kind of unfortunate that that's still his final smash.
Yeah, and it's an item too.
It's an item too, yeah. So, and it's also kind of bothersome. So I don't know if you saw this, but I played both versions. I played the Wii U one and the 3DS version. So I got to actually play other characters that weren't just in the Wii U demo. I got to try out Yoshi, Sheik, Luigi, and Toon Link, who were all in the 3DS version. And Sheik's and Zelda's, both of their final smashes are both the same. They have the light arrow, and so are Link's. So that both Links have the same final smash too. So even though Zero Suit got her own final smash, Sheik did not yet, and neither did Toon Link. I assumed because Zero Suit's got her own, I thought maybe like Toon Link would flood the stage or something, or I thought that maybe like Sheik would, I don't know, do some like crazy ninja technique, or Zelda would summon something.
Toon Link could use like big gusts
of
winds to blow the characters off the stage or something.
Yeah, or with the Wind Waker, totally. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So
maybe it's just because it's the demo; they're not really done. And
I mean, it could very well be that, because they mentioned numerous times that this is a tentative build of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it could very well be that, and they weren't in the Wii U version. So maybe those characters are still being worked on, but they just felt comfortable enough to have them in the 3DS version. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah. So what other characters do you want to know about?
Well,
Because, like
actually,
I said, I played all of them.
Since you played the 3DS game, and a lot of people have a concern like, oh, 3DS isn't going to feel right with Smash Brothers because I need like a GameCube controller. How does it feel playing it on the 3DS?
It's not bad. It's not bad. I was bothered by the controls, but I'm assuming because it's a Sakurai game, you will be able to adjust your controls. Mm-hmm. I mean, in every game that Sakurai's ever made, he's had it where you could adjust your controls however you want them to.
Right.
But the grab button was mapped to L, and shield was mapped to R, and that like threw me off. Huh. So whenever you're playing, you have to use L to grab, and you had to use R to shield. Like it wasn't sort of how it plays in the regular games where you could just like sort of switch between them, or it was bizarre. And then on top of that too, not having a C stick was troublesome for a while. But after I got used to the Circle Pad, and not the Circle Pad Pro, mind you, I didn't play with the Circle Pad Pro, just the regular Circle Pad on the 3DS XL. Mm-hmm. It was pretty easy. I mean, like, I picked it up and was able to play it and get off some pretty good combos relatively easily. Like I said, it just bothered me, the shoulder buttons, but I'm sure that's something that you can adjust once the full game comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably just totally map whatever you want to use.
Yeah.
Here's something that you might find stupid, and people might really judge me for this. I don't use the C-stick, and I also literally press up to jump on the analog stick.
That is not anything I'll judge you for. I mean, people play Smash Brothers differently. My controls are very weird. So, like, when I play, I don't use GameCube controllers. Like, I was forced to use GameCube controllers at E3, except for the VIP booth. They had, like, extra controllers. But on the show floor, everything was just GameCube controllers. And I heard that the people at the Smash Fest didn't have GameCube controllers. They had, like, the Wii U pads or whatever. Not the pads, like the controller Classic Pro thing or whatever. And I'm actually used to playing with the Wii Classic Controller Pro, not the Wii U one, but the regular Wii one, when I'm playing Brawl and when I'm playing Project M. And I actually have grab mapped to my B button, which is something that no one does. But I like having grab readily accessible and in a really easy spot with those 4 buttons. So that's pretty weird. So I don't judge you for pressing up to jump or like.
Every time I tell somebody that, they're like, "What?"
No, especially the C-stick thing too. I mean, no one would ever judge you for not using the C-stick. A lot of people I know still even say the C-stick is cheap, but like whatever, you play to win. But
so it's good to hear that the 3DS game is, for the most part, feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, by no means is it garbage. Like it's not, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be garbage. Even when we had that last discussion, I knew it was going to be good. Excuse me, I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah, I thought it would be good too.
But I didn't. Well, yeah, you thought it was going to be like the best thing in the world.
I think the 3DS version is the one that I want the most right now. Still.
Exactly. But I mean, it's fun. It's definitely fun. And even as a competitive Smasher, I could totally see myself getting into it. Mm-hmm. So, yep.
I know this is already pretty Animal Crossing heavy, but I got to ask: did you play on Tortimer Island?
I did one match.
And how amazing is it?
It was awesome. They had the island music from like when you do the little dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I heard the remix of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the music on that stage.
That's perfect.
That was something I was trying to do. I was trying to play a lot of stages and get close to the speakers. So I would always either be player 1 or player 4, like on the side of where the screens were on the show floor, because I really wanted to hear what the music sounded like in the game. And the only time I really got the chance to listen to it was when we were on the VIP booth on the last day. But yeah, the music is really good in the game. Some of the remixes are great. Gerudo Valley was good when I heard it on the Gerudo Valley stage. What's some of the other music? They have like the remixed battle theme from X and Y that was in Greninja's trailer. That is playable, I guess. I don't know the right word. It comes up in the Prism Tower stage on 3DS. Mm-hmm. So when you're in Lumio City, it plays that music. I'm trying to remember what some of the other tunes were. There was like standard Smash Brothers music. They had the Mega Man 2 Dr. Wily stage on the stage with the Yellow Devil in the Wii U version. I heard that. I heard the Sparkman remix.
Hey, we've never seen Mega Man stage on the 3DS, have we?
We haven't yet, no. I'm kind of hoping that they do something related to Battle Network for that. Mm-hmm. Just because it's like, or Battle Network or Zero, both of those would be good. Those are both Mega Man series that are tied to the handheld system, so I'd love to see them get represented like as a stage or something like that in the 3DS version. Yeah.
But yeah, So the other question I have for you, and like I said, you haven't had a chance to play them, but Pac-Man and Palutena, what are your thoughts?
First off, I love First off, called it. And second, but secondly, I think both of them look great. I really do. I think Palutena is something that the series has needed for a very long time, which is a really good range mage kind of like type fighter. And her combos look fantastic. Like some of the stuff that she could lead off into, she's got like that super boost thing. I don't know what the hell that is, but she's like faster than Sonic when she uses it. Her final smash looks great with the black hole and the mega laser. She's got multiple counters. So she's got her shield counter, which looks like it's like a tilt or it's a side special. And then she's got on top of that her like counter similar to Marth and Little Mac and stuff like that. So she looks to be like a really powerful character. Palutena, I'm sure, is going to be good. I do want to bring this up because I've been seeing people mentioning it online. And I sort of want your opinion on it. What do you think Dark Pit was at the end of that trailer?
I think that was maybe just for show. I think that Dark Pit is probably going to be an alt costume for Pit.
See, that's what I thought too. But on the show floor, there was no Dark Pit alternate costume available. So you actually weren't able to choose Dark Pit as an alternate costume. And I tried that because I went through to see what the alternate colors were. And that's when I found out that like Shiny Greninja's in the game. He's an alternate color for Greninja. They had alternate colors for like all the different characters. But specifically, they did not have Dark Pit as an alternate color. And of course, it's a demo and they didn't have a lot of alternate costumes in there. Like they didn't have the wireframe Little Mac or anything like that. I know that. But I thought it was interesting that they teased him at the end of that trailer and then didn't have his costume playable on the show floor. So
maybe there's some sort of like story mode type thing where you might take him on as like a boss at some point.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. I thought maybe for the Palutena's Temple stage, for the non-Final Destination version of it, that maybe he would appear as a boss character.
Yeah.
I thought that could maybe happen, or he could be like an assist trophy. But we've actually already seen Kid Icarus Uprising assist trophies because Magnus was confirmed when we played it at E3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he jumps onto the stage and does these giant sword slashes and stuff like that. He sort of works like Samurai Goro, but a little more powerful. But yeah, I mean, I've seen everyone even mentioning that like he could be a playable character.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I hope he's not. I hope he's not.
It's like a same character, basically.
I know. I really don't want that. And some people are saying, yeah, they could make him different enough by using other Uprising things. But even if he had the most unique moveset in the world, I don't really want to see Dark Pit. But that's just me.
I am not the biggest Kid Icarus fan, and I don't really have much of a love for Palutena, but as a character, she looks pretty badass. She looks like she's like the Swiss Army knife of Smash Brothers fighters. She's got like so many moves.
She's got that rocket jump thing that does damage where she has like the little explosion. She's got the celestial fireworks that looks to be her up tilt. Yeah, she's got a lot of good options. And on top of that, like I'm sure her custom moveset's going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, as somebody who's not necessarily a fan, I can still appreciate her as being like a really fun character and pretty badass character to select because of her moveset.
Yeah, and she's a girl too. I mean, you always need more girls.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
We've got Rosalina, Palutena, Peach, Wii Fit Trainer. Who else? There's other girls.
Zelda,
of course. Sheik. Yeah.
Yes, this is quite a few females.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Also, moving on to Pac-Man.
Oh, okay. Well, that I was like so ecstatic.
Yeah,
when
me too.
So it was funny. I actually was not able to go to the roundtable events because it happened immediately following the what's it called, the Invitational. So I was invited to go to the roundtable, and I was invited to go to the Invitational, but I chose to go to the Invitational instead, just because I had to go like commentate at a party afterwards for Tiltify and for Twitch. But I had heard from everybody who was at the roundtable that when Sakurai used Pac-Man, he demolished everyone's soul.
Well, he is Sakurai.
Of course, it is Sakurai, but apparently Pac-Man looks powerful. And just based on his trailer, he looks sort of like a Game & Watch villager type of quirky character.
Yeah, which
so
are
I know
my
he's
favorite.
a character I'm going to play. Yeah, my type of character. So.
Right.
And then it's interesting to note, too, I want to bring this up before we forget about it. There is a 3DS Pac-Man stage that we saw, which is based around the arcade
Right,
Pac-Man
that one
game.
looks amazing.
Yes.
I don't love the Wii U stage.
So what is the Wii U one's based on Pac-Land, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then they have the big fairy at the end of it. So that's the Wii U Pac-Man stage. But it seems very bizarre to me.
It's just a flat image.
Yeah, it is but it's like side-scrolling, it looks like, too.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of it compared to the arcade one that's on the 3DS version.
Uh-huh.
But I can't imagine. I mean, the arcade is like so iconic. Like Pac-Man Arcade is so iconic. I can't imagine they don't have an arcade stage in the Wii U version.
It would
too.
be weird. Yeah, that's when you think of Pac-Man and Smash Brothers and you think of the stage, that's what you go to. The arcade Pac-Man. So,
and by the way, we both called his Final Smash, but I think everybody called his Final Smash. Everyone knew it was going to be 2D Pac-Man eating people, but yeah, that's his Final Smash. And it looks really cool. So I love his design too. I love that they went with his Pac-Man World design instead of his current day.
Oh
Pac-Man
yeah, that was
design.
a big thing for me. That was like make or break almost.
Yeah,
like he has to have that retro. Like the eyes are in particular what they needed to make sure we're right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really happy with him.
Yeah, it's so funny how Nintendo has taken these characters, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Mega Man, who all are just in the shitter right now at their own companies. You've got Sonic Boom, which we'll talk about in the E3 episode, but that game is a train wreck. It's horrible. There's Pac-Man Ghostly Adventures or whatever that nonsense is, where he looks like he was born 3 months early. And then you've got – no, but I'm serious. He does. And then, like, what's the other – and then Mega Man. I mean, and then Mega Man's basically just like a grave at Capcom headquarters.
Yeah.
So Nintendo's doing all this stuff with these characters. I mean, they're really bringing out the history of these characters, and I think it's great.
Yeah, hopefully it inspires their actual owners to do something with them.
For sure. Hey, maybe people were talking about that Capcom buyout. Maybe a company will buy Capcom. That would be kind of cool.
Nintendo.
Hey, Nintendo x Capcom.
We can finally get that Zack and Wiki sequel I've been longing for.
Oof. Or EAD develops Mega Man. Yes, inject that into my veins, please.
Okay, there was one more thing I wanted to bring up because I just recently did a video where I talk about 4 characters that I would personally think would be cool in Smash Brothers, and I picked 9-Volt from WarioWare.
Cool.
Because he's really Nintendo-y. I went with Paper Mario, even though a lot of people think there's too many Mario characters. I think he could be really different. And then I went with Professor Layton, because I think he could be pretty different.
Yay!
and then finally, of course, I said Captain Rainbow, because, oh my god, naturally I'm going to say Captain Rainbow.
Of course.
But people were responding saying, there's no way, because we already know all the characters that are remaining in Smash Brothers.
People who say that, I think, are people who are referring to the Gematsu leak.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest with you, I absolutely believe it now. There's no doubt in my mind, 100%, especially after E3, because if you go back to the original leak, they mentioned that Pac-Man and the Mii's would be E3 reveals on top of the other reveals that they had mentioned with Wii Fit Trainer and Mega Man and the Villager. Mm-hmm. So that leak has been too spot on. Even the stuff with like Greninja and the stuff with Palutena. So who's left on that leak, right? It's the Chorus Men, Shulk, Chrom, and I think that was it,
That was
right?
it, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that's all the newcomers that are left. I still feel like there might be 1 or 2 more surprises. Mm-hmm. But I do think all 3 of those characters are definitely going to be in. And let me explain why, because I have solid reasoning for all 3 of them.
Okay.
So with Chrom, the main Fire Emblem stage on the 3DS version is the arena from Fire Emblem Awakening. So, and on top of that too, Fire Emblem Awakening was one of the most successful Fire Emblem games in the history of the franchise. And while I would much rather see a character like Tharia or Anna, maybe like a girl character or Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening, make it in as a playable character, I think Chrom is just your safe bet. And I could see him being a really easy sort of like unlockable character. One of the first ones you would unlock by beating Classic Mode or something, kind of similar how Marth was in Melee. And actually how Marth was in Brawl too, because you just played through single player mode and then you unlocked Marth. So I could see Chrom being that. I don't see them revealing Chrom before release. However, I have much more solid evidence for the other 2. So for Shulk, just recently, and I actually think you retweeted this when I retweeted it, but the voice actor for Shulk tweeted out something recently saying he's currently working on a number of projects that he would be killed if he talked about. And it seems to make a lot of sense considering Smash Brothers is coming out. They're very tight-lipped about that. And there's the Xenoblade Chronicles game that's coming out, the sequel, X. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe Shulk would be involved in that, but apparently that's supposed to take place like generations after Xenoblade. So maybe he isn't in that game, but it makes a lot of sense that Shulk would be in Smash Brothers. Obviously, they'd use the same voice actor. They use the same voice actors for the other characters. It just seems like a perfect fit. And yeah, Shulk, I'm sure, is going to be in the game without question. And in fact, I think Shulk is going to be revealed before the game's even out. I think he's going to be the last newcomer we see before the game actually comes out.
What about Chorus Men? Do you think they'll be revealed prior to
And
launch?
Actually, Chorus Men, I'm most confident about of all 3 of them. Because when I was playing Smash Run on the show floor, I ran into Rhythm Heaven enemies in Smash Run.
Mm-hmm.
So if you played, I think it's Rhythm Heaven on Wii, and it's also the original game. There's the game where like it goes like dun 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 cha 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 cha, and then it like takes back the rhythm, and there's like a ghost that's going little by little down a wall, and then you got to know when the ghost is going to pop out of the wall, and you shoot it with an arrow.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Those ghosts were enemies in Smash Run, and if you look at Smash Run, and every enemy that's in Smash Run right now, they all have characters representing their franchises, except for the Subspace Enemy characters.
Mm-hmm.
So there's absolutely no reason that they would just randomly throw in a Rhythm Heaven character if that were the case. I am extremely confident that if not the Chorus Men, someone from Rhythm Heaven is going to be in the game. I also think it's interesting to note too that the Ghost, when you were battling him in Smash Run, is 2D. So the Chorus Men, if they are revealed, or Marshall or Karate Joe or whoever, like any kind of Rhythm Heaven character, I'm assuming would also be 2D, sort of in the same vein as Game & Watch.
Right. So see, that's why I believe it, because the Chorus Men generally come in 3.
Yes.
Like, we generally don't see that character as solo. So because that would mean 3 characters on screen at once, and it needs to run on the 3DS, I would believe, okay, they're going to be hand-drawn 2D. And because we've seen the Rhythm Heaven characters in Smash Run, and they were 2D, it makes me think that Rhythm Heaven is going to be represented in like a 2D form on the game.
Totally. And I'm sure the stage is going to be, first off, that's like a guarantee. There's going to be a Rhythm Heaven stage. No question. I would put $100 down on that. Even if we didn't get like a playable representative, there will be a Rhythm Heaven stage. Mm-hmm. Whether it's unlockable or whatever, it's going to be there. But I definitely feel like Chorus Men are a sure thing now. I feel very confident about that.
I love Rhythm Heaven, so I'd be more than happy with that.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I mean, Rhythm Heaven Fever is one of my top 5 favorite games of last generation. Yeah. Like, it really is. So
I was actually just playing it like 3 nights ago.
As was I. I played it at Chofu's house while we were waiting to do Japan time. We played Rhythm Heaven Fever. It was awesome. Yeah. We did the wrestler thing, multiplayer.
Uh-huh.
Piku 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 desu ka? Sugo desu ne.
Yeah, that game is just that's one of my favorite Wii games, definitely. Yeah. It's amazing.
So how do you think the Chorus Man would play if he's a playable character? Do you think he's going to like summon other Rhythm Heaven characters, or do you think how do you think he's going to play?
It's either going to be to where it's the one character and your moves are going to be like the other characters jump out from behind him or something to do stuff, or it's going to be literally like 3 characters stacked on top of each other in some way as they run around. And like you'd be battling as 3 characters, but they sort of feel like one.
I could see that. Yeah, like they're all standing on each other's shoulders or something.
Yeah, or like piled together in a ball or something.
I could see that. I'm sure, though, if they have a final smash, it's got to be like, together now.
Yeah, like a big shockwave audio
and they all
wave.
just like, go flying off the stage. That seems like something.
Yeah, but I think having those 3 as like a group would be the wackiest and most interesting as a fighter.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. But not to stray too far off what you were asking, because you were talking about newcomers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. One of the character that I think is definitely also going to be announced, it's just a matter of when, and I think they'll probably be unlockable, is Mewtwo. I feel I have no other reasoning for that. Like, I don't have reasoning like the other things. I just really think Mewtwo's coming back.
A lot of people want Mewtwo back.
Yeah.
I'm still annoyed that Lucario made it back.
Why?
He's a great Lucario.
Oh, you got bad taste. He's a great character.
He's too similar to Greninja, and he would be too similar to Mewtwo. That'd be 3 Pokemon that are like the same thing.
Whoa, no. Did you go to the Smash Fest? Did you try out Greninja?
No.
Because Greninja is nothing.
He's a ninja Pokemon, just like the other 2 ninja Pokemon.
No, he plays absolutely nothing. If anything, Greninja feels more like Sheik than he does Lucario. Like, he plays absolutely nothing like Lucario. And actually, we didn't even talk about how the other newcomers played, the ones who were on the show floor. So maybe this could sort of go into that part of the discussion. But Greninja is great. He's got really good combos. He feels kind of like a melee character, or as close to a melee character as you can get in terms of like being very speedy. He's got good jabs. He has great combos. Like his down smash is really good. He does this like tongue whip thing. His up smash, which you've seen in the video, like those water swords, they have a really big hitbox and they do quite a bit of damage. And they're great to sort of like if you're comboing someone on the ground, you do a grab. Oh, by the way, his grabs too, he like basically summons a whirlpool, and that's how he grabs you. So he doesn't like grab you with his hands or whatever. He basically summons a mini whirlpool and you get trapped in it. And every time you press the jab button or the grab button or whatever, when you like to do a little more damage as you're holding onto them, the whirlpool just tightens. But his throws are all really good. His down tilt's really good. Just his mobility is great. His mobility and Zero Suit Samus both have really good mobility. They can get around the stage very easily. And his down air is really good too because he does a stomp move and he basically footstools off of the character back into the air after he does the stomp. Mm-hmm. So the stomp is really powerful. You smash him into the ground and then you go flying right back up into the air again and you could just keep spamming the down smash onto other people's heads and just keep bouncing up in the air. And then when they're in the air, you can catch them with a neutral A, or you could do like a standard move like his water shuriken or something like that. But yeah, Greninja is great. And he actually plays a lot differently than Sheik. But he definitely does not play anything even close to Lucario. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised if you didn't get a chance to try him out.
It sounds like just all the moves are much more clever this time around.
They definitely are.
Like the characters all have a lot more interesting moves that differentiate from one another and just seem crazier than ever before.
Yeah. Even on that topic, Mega Man, I think, was the one character I was disappointed in.
Really?
Yeah, because I played a lot of the newcomers on the show floor. And of the newcomers, to me, Mega Man was the weakest by far. Wow. Mega Man's got one really good thing that I know. Well, a couple of really good things. All his aerials. Every one of his aerial attacks is great. So his up air where he does the tornado, where you could like push them off the stage, is really good. His meteor smash where he does the hard knuckle is really good. And both of his side A, so he has like his back air and his forward air are both very good. And basically if you're playing someone with a bad recovery, you can just basically keep spamming the back air or the forward air, keep them off the stage, bounce up with the rush coil, continue to smash them back, bounce up with the rush coil again, and do a lot more damage. So that's good about Mega Man, but on the ground, he's not very powerful. And I'm still not used to him not having a regular jab. Mm-hmm. Him having like his Mega Buster as his jab basically instead is kind of jarring, to be honest. So,
I assumed he'd be really powerful.
No. His final smash is really good. Like where he summons the gravity bomb, the super fighting robot. Like when that happened during the Invitational, people freaked out.
The earth shook.
Yeah, the earth shook. But I mean, beyond that, no. I mean, Mega Man was the one I think I was the most disappointed in. Rosalina is sort of another one, but I feel like Rosalina was much better when I played her 1v1. So I actually got a couple good matches in the VIP booth with Duncan. I don't know if you know Duncan knee deep, but he does like Pokemon videos and stuff like that. And the two of us were playing. He did Link, who, by the way, also got a buff. And I was playing Rosalina. And Rosalina is really hard to sort of get adjusted to if you're playing 4 players. So if you really want to get used to that character, I recommend before picking her up, do some practice matches. Just 1v1 against the computer or something like that, because once you get used to her Luma shot and separating the character, she's great.
She looks like she's hard to master, but once you do, you'd be really good.
Yeah. That's how I felt about Rosalina too. Little Mac was also very good, but I think the hype was a little too real for Little Mac, and what I mean by that was people, myself included, Japan Time Cast included, thought that Little Mac was going to be incredibly powerful, like broken almost with the KO punch, and that's not the case. So I tested this out. If you are at 0% and you get hit with the KO punch, it's not a one-hit KO like Sakurai said. It does a lot of damage, and it will still fly you far off the stage, but it will not kill you immediately.
What if you have like 30 to 50%?
If you've got like 30, if you know how to DI, like if you know directional influence, you can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not overpowered.
No,
but it can be pretty devastating.
Oh, it's extremely devastating. If you're not used to it, it's horribly devastating. Yeah. All his ground game is obviously fantastic, though. His neutral charge attack, the lethal charge or whatever, is great. It's a really good way to sort of get across the stage and do a ton of damage, but his cooldown's really bad. His recovery is horrendous. He cannot get back onto the stage if his life depends on it. And it does, because you lose a stock if you get off the stage. But his forward special is actually a better recovery than his up special. So his up special is actually great on the ground, because you could use it when coming out of a grab to really combo someone and do a lot of damage. But when you're in the air, it goes a pathetic distance. So you really don't get a lot of verticality with it. Mm-hmm. And his side special doesn't give you a lot of horizontal recovery, but it's more than his vertical.
Yeah, when they first introduced him, it was pretty clear that he was going to have trouble getting back to the stage.
Yeah. Also, something I do want to point out while I'm thinking of it, because we were talking about up specials and side specials, Fox got because I've been seeing people say Fox got nerfed, and his up smash did get nerfed, and his up air did get nerfed, but he has a new thing in his arsenal, which has never been in any Smash Bros. Game, and he's now all the more powerful for it. And now his regular side special where he does that like the dash across the stage.
Right.
You know how usually if you use that, you would fall off the stage.
Yeah.
Like if you use that off the stage, you would fall. You wouldn't be able to recover.
Mm-hmm.
You can now use his side special and use his his up special, his recovery, following it. Meaning his recovery is crazy good now.
Mm-hmm. What is his up special? Still the same thing where he like...
Still the Firefox, yeah. It's still the jetpack thing. But it's made all the better now by the fact that you could do his dash and then the recovery. Mm-hmm. He gets a lot more ground, and it's a huge buff for him. Like, it might not seem like a buff to a lot of casual players, but even when you're playing in casual play, you'll notice, like, it's a monstrous buff.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people who are not really familiar with Fox will make is they'll dash right off the stage with that damn thing.
Exactly, and that can't happen anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. What about Wii Fit Trainer? That's the other new character. I don't know if you played with her.
Yeah, Wii Fit Trainer is probably one of the best newcomers.
Okay, good, because that's one that I plan on maining.
Yeah, Wii Fit Trainer and Villager were both very good. Wii Fit Trainer just has a lot of great options. She uses her deep breathing. You can get a lot of good boosts off, especially if you're playing in a 4-player match. You could sort of camp somewhere where you know it's safe, do deep breathing, then charge back into the fray with like a charged up Sun Salutation or a forward smash, and just unleash like a devastating attack against your opponents. So that's really good with her. Her recovery option's very nice. She's got a really safe recovery, which is her hula hoop. She's got a really good jab finishing move. So I don't know if you know about this, but the jabs all have finishing moves now, so you can't just infinitely jab. Like, you jab, and then eventually when you let go of it, you do like a finisher move. And her finisher move is she stomps in the ground, and she actually sort of does what Villager does when he digs a hole or when Donkey Kong headbutts. She basically stomps them into the ground, which is crazy good for being a finisher move off a regular jab. That's really, really good.
What is her side recovery?
What is her side?
Because I know the hula hoop is to like you go straight up with the hula hoops.
Yeah. Oh, it's her. It's not a recovery. It's the. Why can't I think of it? The soccer ball.
Oh, so in a
way,
way,
I think her soccer ball is her side special. I don't remember, to be honest. I have to look that up.
So in a way, she might have a pretty bad recovery.
No, her recovery is good because of the hula hoop. The hula hoop gives you a lot of good distance, and sort of like what you could do with Meta Knight. You know how like when you do like that tornado thing, mm-hmm. and you can sort of adjust where it goes. You could do the same thing with the hula hoop.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just straight up.
No. So if you press the right direction at the right time and you do your up recovery, you'll be able to move, relatively freely on the stage. There's a pretty good amount of back and forth. Yeah,
that's good. So yeah, I think we've covered all the newcomers that you were able to play, and even the ones that you can't play as.
Yeah.
Final question for you: what did you think of the release dates?
I think it's smart because we talked about this actually on the last Smash discussion. I think it's smart because a lot of people would probably not buy the 3DS version if it didn't come out first. And people, even if they're saying, "Oh, I'm going to hold off until the Wii U one comes out. I'm going to hold off until it comes out," like the hardcore players, I think they're going to buckle down under the pressure and they're going to get the 3DS version anyway, because the 3DS version is great. I played it on the show floor. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And on top of that, too, because the roster is going to be the same, we'll know the roster months in advance because we'll know from the 3DS version.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the 3DS version has great stages. The music's good. I think people will want to get used to their characters before they really start to pick it up on the Wii U version. So I think the release date's fine. And I think winter is great for Smash Brothers on Wii U because it gives them a really strong holiday game. However, and if any of you guys from NOA are listening right now, if that gets pushed into 2015, you're going to have a problem on your hands because this is a do or die situation with the Wii U.
Yeah.
It's sort of gotten a bit of a boost with Mario Kart, and there is some good stuff coming out this year like Hyrule Warriors, but if you push that out of this holiday season, you're going to have a lot of angry smashers on your fans, and don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I think that creatively and financially, it would be pretty disaster.
It'd be devastating for them to not do it. Yeah, I'm smelling like a November, December release date, to be honest, because they said Amiibo comes out in November, December, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that it'll launch with Amiibo.
Right, that's the other thing. Because of Amiibo, I think that confirms it's not going to get delayed. Like, they're going to want Amiibo and Smash Brothers to be their big holiday thing.
Yeah, and now you heard also about the collector's edition, too, where you get Smash Brothers, the GameCube controller, and the GameCube controller adapter, and it's like $100.
No, I haven't heard about. What is the
Yeah.
what do you mean? Adapter? Oh, right. What am I thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't just plug
Right,
controllers
yeah.
into Wii
It
U,
plugs in
yeah.
via USB and then does that now
Yeah,
see
but
a lot of people are speculating that won't work with a Wavebird. Has that been confirmed?
that hasn't been confirmed, but I think it will because there's controller ports.
It's the same
I mean,
thing, yeah.
yeah, the controller port plugs into I think the USB or something into the system, the actual adapter.
Mm-hmm.
But where you actually physically plug in your GameCube controller, it just looks like a GameCube controller port.
Yeah.
So if you have a Wavebird, I'm imagining it's going to work.
Same
Yeah, I mean,
exact
it's not.
thing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't confirmed that, but I'd be kind of shocked if they didn't.
Mm-hmm. And before we end, it's a good thing we mentioned Amiibo. What are your thoughts on Amiibo?
I think it's great.
You've seen them in person, obviously.
Yeah. So I saw the Smash Brothers collection. That was what they had on the show floor. I'll even send you the picture so you'll have something to put up when you're editing this of me standing by all the little characters. But yeah, they were a lot of, they're really nicely made. But I think and I know you play Infinity, so you would know this. You know how when you're playing Disney Infinity or when you're playing Skylanders, the actual characters, like the physical toys, feel almost unbreakable. Like they feel like solid pieces.
Yeah, you can
toy.
never break it. Unless it was like the sword off of one of the pirates in Infinity, and even that's hard because they're like a thick rubber.
Yeah, but when I saw the Amiibo in person, they look like they're on pegs almost, and they have lots of like intricate little parts. So like Mario's got like this fireball that he's holding,
right?
And Wii Fit Trainer's got really skinny arms and stuff like that. I don't know how they're gonna make that where they're like unbreakable. I think that's going to be a big concern that they're going to have sort of in development until Amiibo releases. And they did say that all the models on the show floor are tentative and that there's obviously still works in progress. But judging from the ones that are on the show floor, they're going to be incredible for collectors. People are going to love them. And they're really detailed, really nice figures. But I mean, if you're giving them to a kid to play Mario Kart or to play Smash Brothers or something like that, I think they might have that concern that they would break a little easier than something like Infinity or Skylanders.
Right. And in fact, some of them even have like a crystal base holding them up.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, they're on like pegs basically on these crystal bases, the Smash Brothers bases. Yeah.
For me, I like that more because I mean, I'm not going to break them. I know that. But like for a kid, yeah, I can see how that might be easy.
I'm totally with you. I'm just speaking as devil's advocate. But like, I'm totally. The more pretty you can make them, the better, man.
Right. Donkey Kong has so much detail in like his fur.
Oh, Samus's look so good. Samus's look so good. Like both of them.
Yeah.
The Zero Suit and the regular. Well,
Zero Suit wasn't there, was she?
Actually. Yeah, I was gonna say. Let me backtrack that. We didn't see Zero Suit. We saw Marth though, and that's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Marth was really good. Marth looked really good, and so did Samus. So yeah, I'm hyped for Amiibo.
Yeah, I mean, even if I don't really use them a lot in the game, I just want to have them as like something to put on a shelf.
For sure.
But yeah.
So while we're talking about Smash Brothers still, one last thing I sort of want to ask you to ask me, because I'm here, is were there any veterans you want to know how they played? Because I played all the characters pretty extensively. And we did do a full-on discussion character roundup in the last Japan time.
Mm-hmm.
So people can go listen to that if they want to hear like really in detail stuff. But if there's a character specifically that you want to know about, I could maybe help.
Okay, so I've heard like Bowser in the past games was really hard to use because he was so slow. And I've heard that Sakurai has mentioned many times that he doesn't want to hear anybody complain about Bowser being too slow because he's really fixed it and adjusted it because, of that complaint. So is Bowser still slow or is he like a good contender?
Bowser's still a little slow, but it's not anywhere near how it was before. And he got so many buffs. Like his drop kick forward smash is really powerful. And on top of that, his butt stomp thing, like when you press B down in the air, that got a huge, enormous buff. That can kill it like 30% if you don't know how to DI.
Bowser's had some butt
really strong. The butt stomp, yeah. Yeah,
well, so that's good.
Bowser's really powerful.
It sounds like for the most part, they've taken out a lot of the handicaps of the characters and just more or less said, let's make every character really good.
Yeah, the only one that I noticed that really got like a strong nerf was Marth. Marth's Dancing Blade is like really weird now, and that's his side special. For those of you guys who don't know what Dancing Blade is, the timing is weird now, and that I think is something that you'll just get adjusted to. Like we were playing it really quickly on the show floor, and when we were playing in the VIP area, we didn't want to play, with like the returning characters. We wanted to play with the newcomers, obviously.
Right.
So I didn't really get much of a chance to test that out, but just based on what I saw at the Invitational, and playing it on the show floor, and actually talking to Ken, who is a friend of mine who was in the Invitational, who plays Marth, Marth got a pretty big nerf.
Huh.
You can't short hop fair anymore. For people who know what that is technically, that's when you do a really short jump and then go into his forward air, which is like that slash. You used to be able to short hop fair really, really quickly and do a lot of damage, and you can't do that anymore. Just because of the way that his attacks are sort of laid out and the way the jumps work and the way the physics work. You can't do that anymore. And that's a pretty big nerf for him.
There are rumored to be 3 characters from Fire Emblem, though, so I guess you have other alternatives.
No, of course, yeah. There's Ike, and then now we're talking about Chrom too. So I feel like
Ike is, as the Japanese players call him, a gorilla.
Yeah, totally, man, totally.
But yeah, there's still.
I wish Ike was playable. I would have loved to have tried him out on the show floor, but
Ike, or he wasn't playable?
No.
Oh, that's weird because he was announced a while ago.
Yeah, a lot of characters. Ike wasn't playable. Diddy Kong wasn't playable. I'm trying to remember who else wasn't playable. I think that was it. I think in terms of veteran fighters among both versions that were there, I think Diddy Kong and Ike were the only ones that weren't.
It seems weird to me that they would announce new characters and then not have them in the demo build.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the same time, I feel like Palutena and Pac-Man were announced now because they just weren't tuned up yet. They were waiting to announce them until they actually had their moveset solidified and they knew how they were going to play. I don't think it was a matter of we announced these characters and now you could try them out. Oh, and by the way, Charizard wasn't there either, so you couldn't play Charizard or Lucario or King Dedede. So there were quite a few veterans who weren't there.
King Dedede has been announced, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I totally forgot that.
Yeah, so in terms of returning fighters that haven't been announced yet, the big sort of exclusions right now are Ice Climbers, Meta Knight, Captain Falcon, Ness, who else? I think that's it. Lucas,
but I don't think he would come back. That's the
Snake, Squirtle, Ivysaur,
I do not want Snake to come back.
And Wolf and Falco. I feel like everybody is going to come back except for Snake, Squirtle, Ivysaur, and maybe Lucas. But I feel like everybody else is coming back. Even the Star Fox characters, even Ice Climbers. I feel like Ice Climbers will be an unlockable this time.
Do you think they could pull it off on the 3DS?
I do. I feel
like they're 8 characters at once.
Yeah, I feel like they're too iconic of a character to cut. I mean, I would understand if they had to be cut for technical reasons, and I feel like a lot of people wouldn't really complain. I mean, there are some great competitive Ice Climber players, and it would be a shame to not see them. But, I mean, if anyone's going to get cut and they're an original character, if it's got to be Ice Climbers, then fine. Mm-hmm. I'd rather it be Ice Climbers than over someone like Falcon or Ness, who are all but confirmed, and Jigglypuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Jigglypuff hasn't been confirmed
but,
either.
I mean, if you think those 3 are going anywhere, you're mistaken.
They're originals.
Yeah, of course. Jigglypuff, Falcon, and Ness will all be there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Which is good.
At the very least.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that wraps up our Smash Brothers E3 discussion. You've given us a lot of information here. I feel more knowledgeable, which is a typical thing when talking with you.
Well, thank you very much.
So, yeah, you want to go ahead and plug where people can keep in touch with you and follow you?
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter at RogersBase, on Tumblr at RogersBase, naturally. It's RogersBase everywhere. You could also go on YouTube. My YouTube channel is named RogersBase, but I made it when I was in college, and I never put anything on it. So the actual channel URL is RDILUI2, but I'm sure Josh will put that in the description for you. Mm-hmm. Also, you can go to facebook.com/JapanTimePodcast. That's where I have the podcast with Shofu and with Duncan and everybody else who's there, Warchamp, Zeph, the like. We have a lot of really good competitive Smash Bros. Players on there. And we also have casual players as well. Josh, you've been on a couple times. So definitely go check out the Japan Time podcast if you're interested in more Smash Brothers news. And I highly encourage anybody who is into the Smash Brothers scene to check out and register on smashboards.com if you are not already. It is a wonderful source for Smash Brothers news, really highly technical stuff, great speculation. There's a really good community over there. Definitely go register and make yourself a member.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, man. Thank you very much for chatting with Smash Brothers with me.
Of course. Anytime, Josh.
We are going to do versus videos when it comes out, by the way. You realize this, right?
Oh, of course. Oh, definitely. Yeah, not even a question.
Something to look forward to, guys. Hey, thanks for watching this video from the BitBlock. If you want to stay up to date on tons of exclusive Nintendo content, be sure to subscribe by clicking here. And if you don't want the fun to end, you can check out more Nintendo coverage by clicking over here.